Okay. I'm doing it again. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, we're here. We're a few minutes late, thanks to a few technical difficulties, more than usual. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're doing a book club edition of the Chippy Chick. So there'll still be some hockey talk a little later on, of course. Still do our usual features, but we decided we would like to talk about books a little more often. So tonight, we're going to talk about Danica's book, The Fake Out. Can you show us the book, Danica?
Yes.
We got the. There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful. So this is a hockey romance, and hopefully we've all had a chance to read it. And we're just gonna have a little fun discussion about it. Nothing too serious. Just talk about some of the things we liked about it, and a few other things about the book. So I'm gonna start with Stacy. What was one of your favorite parts about the book?
So I am so this is a fake dating story, and one of the things, I'm a sucker for characters who are self-aware of the tropes they are falling into. It's one of my favorite things about Mia Huntsman's Friendship Contract. It's also a fake dating book. It's in the subset of books, the contract dating, and the characters in that book were two attorneys, and so every time they kind of renegotiated their friendship contract, they were joking about what they were doing and kind of like how they were dealing with it. In this book, one of the things that made it sparkle for me, I love the character of Michael, who is the main male characters in this book, Karen's brother. He also happens to be a romance novelist writing under a pen name. And so it is his sort of understanding and joy with the genre that basically, says to his brother, excuse me, you know what happens every time people fake date? They end up together. And of course, that is the thing that, I won't spoil it, but basically it is a very integral part of the book. And I loved that moment so much. And it echoed with the heroine and her best friend as they were talking about romance novels. What do you think? I'm in a rom-com, she says. So
I always do that.
So I agree. That was super cute and fun. Yeah, when they know the tropes that they're living, right?
Yep.
How about you, Fortune?
I loved all of their kind of scenes together in terms of they were so, when you sometimes you read a book and they're just not you're like, how are these guys ever going to get together? But with them, it was just so immediate and automatic and just how. But my favorite was when, they see each other again for the first time. And I'm just I love that part because it's always I just always remember what it's like to feel that way. And that's I think it's one of my favorite parts about a romance novel when you're so flustered and you're an adult and you could speak, but not really ever anymore around this one person. I love that. That's my favorite part about being in love.
Yeah. That's true.
Pretending my boyfriend.
That's very, very relatable, right? Yeah. Melanie?
I liked the vibe the couple had. I really liked it actually when they texted each other. I thought that they were just so cute back and forth. What I really enjoyed also was that, I don't know, is it literal or a metaphor when she actually tattoos his ex off, off his
Yeah.
bye Astrid, like, see you now, you're going to be a hibiscus flower. So I thought, like, she's doing that, but she's also helping him to purge this toxic relationship that he's had. So I kind of thought, oh, that's pretty cool that she's the one that would do that anyway, but then they also fall in love. But I think my very favorite part was actually the setting. I really liked Philly. I liked there was a few references, like I think she talked about the Philly people are sort of pessimistic. I think she called it Philly pessimism or something, and which I can relate, because I think Danica and I are both, our teams, hockey teams, are in this losing thing. So sometimes you think, oh, is anything good ever going to happen? And it can come into your whole life. But I have to ask you one question, because all along I thought like a Philly cheesesteak was like a steak with cheese on it, but it clearly is some kind of sandwich. So what is it exactly?
So it's on a hoagie roll, like a hoagie roll.
Yeah.
And it's basically like lunch meat type of meat. Like it's cheese. It's like, it's not like an actual steak, but it's like chopped up. And then it's whiz or wit, which is like cheese whiz or provolone. Some people put onions on it. If you put peppers on it, you've gone too far. So I wrote so my brother moved from California to Virginia, and he ordered a cheesesteak, and what they brought out to him had like mayo on it.
Yeah.
And he was like, what is this? This is not a Philly cheesesteak. And I actually put that in one of my other books because I was like, I have to put that. It's really funny. One of my critique partners is from the Philly area and the other one's from California. And she had to ask me that too. She's like, what is it? Because every time I ordered out here, it has mayo on it. And we were like, no, never comes with mayo.
I don't know, like you hear things and you think, okay, cheese steak, it must be like a steak with cheese on it. But then I'm thinking, it seems to be a sandwich.
No, it's like a steak sandwich.
I couldn't Google it, but I thought I'm gonna ask Danica instead. Yeah, but I like that. I like the setting, that people like the food, and that he was a hometown boy. So I really, settings are super important for me in books. So I enjoyed that part a lot.
Yeah, that's good. I haven't read a lot of books that have been set in Philadelphia. One of my favorite parts was, and I've read one of the other books in this series, but not all of them. And I liked Blaze's dad, and I loved how he warns the one brother off of Veronica, but then he insists that Blaze gives her a ride home, and everybody's all confused about this. Like, what? I have a question. Speaking of the tattoos, what I liked having a tattoo artist as the main female character. What kind of research did you have to do into that?
So there was like a lot about like just even like a basic line about like them working on the line work. I mean, I have 2 tattoos, so I kind of know some things, so I kind of had that own experience. And then just like there's like, I watched a couple of there's this one lady on YouTube, and she does like a lot of like cover-ups. So I watched like a bunch of her videos too, with her talking about like, she does like amazing cover-ups, like that look completely different. So I forget what her name is. I think it's like Electric something. I forget what her name is. And she talked about like sometimes when you have to do a cover up, you have to do a couple sessions before the colors get all the way in, because they might, once it heals, it might get too like light. So I did like kind of put that in where she's like, we might need to do another session. Like, I want to see how it heals. So I just like did a lot of like, just kind of like YouTube was great. Like finding different like tattoo artists, like talking about it was, it's been several years since I got a tattoo, so I had to do a little bit more to remember the whole process and stuff. So it was fun to write.
I like that she's an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess most tattoo artists are artistic, but she's more than just a tattoo artist. She's an artist too. So what, we kind of talked about favorite parts of the book and particular scenes that we liked. and somebody who mentioned characters that they liked. Oh, Stacy, you mentioned the brother. Melanie, were there any particular characters that you liked or that you related to?
I kind of like the family vibe that the brothers had. Because what I like about hockey romances is I love that team, you know, and the guys were all like talking and everything. And so his family definitely had that because they all played hockey. So it was a lot like that. So that was good. But I did think like he seemed like the nicest brother, maybe because he was more humble, you know, than the other guys. So it's nice when
He also had Blaze has some not daddy issues, but he's like him and his father have that because they're so much alike. There's that conflict between them, and they always seem to be at cross purposes, even though I think they really weren't.
Yeah, I mean, you did question like why although he explains it, why he's living with his dad, because they just seem to like conflict so much. And I thought maybe they'd be better with more space and his dad not having to listen to his sex life.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of that.
Yeah.
I actually cut a scene where they heard his dad. Like I
did you?
Yeah, and I cut it because I was like, this is too weird. So I cut it.
That should be like an extra scene.
Yeah, bonus content.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But like maybe right from Gad's POV, it was like, I always hear you guys. Rude.
Yeah.
My turn. And maybe it's just like baking.
Bang that headboard, baby.
Oh man.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. I like that. Let's talk about the title of the book, because I'll let everybody else kind of weigh. Unfortunately, what did you think of the title, and how does the title of the book work in relation to the contents?
Oh no, I always get upset because you guys always have the best titles for everything, but this whole Bulldog series is great. No, I love the fake out. Since we're talking about the title, can I just say, like, in my brain after reading this book, I'm like, he doesn't really look like Blaze in my brain. this chesty man.
It's so hard sometimes, and part of why in the you met him in the last book. He's in the last book for like a scene, because he was still with the Toronto team that I had, and he has long hair in it. And my beta reader was like, "Why did you cut off his hair?" And I was just very coy about it, and I was like, "It's because of the stock photo." I had to like cut his hair off because I just couldn't find. Oh, stock can be so hard. So I was like, "Oh, I can find one that I don't really like." And it was also difficult with like him having tattoos, so I like kind of use that style so you can't see the one arm, but I'm like, you know what, it's fine. Like, not the deal. But she was like, why did you do that? I'm like, he'll grow it back, it's fine. It was also like a sign to his little sister that something's wrong, like she noticed like something's wrong.
Cry for help.
Yes.
I love when we have to go back and fix stuff like that. Like, oh, I don't know. Let's cut his hair off.
Cut off his head completely.
He's got bangs.
I've actually started doing that because it used to be like you would always look for the stock photo that looks like the character you've imagined, and now I just like look at the stock photos first.
Yeah, that's what I do too. And it was really difficult with Benny's book because I was like, I wanted a guy that like didn't look white because he's Mexican American, and I've tried really hard to find one, but I still think he looked probably not that dark. It's hard. It's really hard. There's not a lot of good diverse. Trying to find a guy with long hair is really hard. I've seen some people where I've seen the stock before and I'm like, I know they just put long hair on him. Like, because I'm like, I know this photo and he does not have long hair. And sometimes it doesn't look the best. So it's like, I try to make my life easier.
It's true.
Yeah, try finding it. Like if you've got a a couple and you want to get
Right.
a mixed
Yeah.
race, like man or woman, and
That's why I did man for the series, because I just like, I'm not gonna find what I want. Like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
Oh, and if you were trying to find a picture of Veronica, like with her different colors of hair, you'd never find it.
I would never find it. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the title, Stacy, and how it relates?
I loved it. You know, it's the sort of the double meaning title that I love so
Yeah.
much. You know, when you have hockey romance or any other genre, but specifically with hockey romance, like, you know, the term has a double meaning when you're dealing with the, you know, the fake relationship and also on the ice. So it's like, it says a lot about the story. And I just,
Yeah.
I love when titles like that work like that, you know, when titles work on multiple levels and not just one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. I like the double meaning for it was perfect for a fake relationship story.
Yeah. And not to
And
be
hockey.
rude, but it's an actual hockey term, not like some books.
I originally wanted to call it geek, but which I loved,
Yeah.
but just because of the way my books are, making it one word I didn't think was going to work with my covers. So I was like, I needed to think of something else. And I just thought the fake out was like really good, because all my other books in that series, they're like 2 or 3 words. And like just the treatment of the cover, it took me a really, really long time to figure out that this is ice. Like I didn't know for the longest.
I love it.
I love
So
it.
like I was just like, I just need to do something different, which was fine. But titles are really, really hard.
Do you,
Yeah,
do,
that's another
you
hard
do
thing.
your own covers, or do you just choose?
I have a
them all?
designer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not skilled. I tried and I was not very
Yeah.
good.
Melanie, was there anything about the book that surprised you?
I don't know if surprise is the right word. Like you always know that certain things are going to happen, right? So you just wonder what. I guess her becoming friends with her ex's wife was a surprise to me. And she seemed like really sweet, so it was kind of interesting because she wasn't portrayed as this horrible woman who stole
The
her,
other woman.
fiance. Instead, she was just portrayed as somebody who had no idea. I was kind of worried that Veronica was going to tell her, which I didn't think would be a good idea. So I'm glad that she didn't.
Yeah.
I was anxious about that too. I was like,
Yeah.
what's she gonna do? Is she gonna tell her? Is she gonna tell her? And I was like, oh, I don't know. This is gonna be good. I was glad that she didn't tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Fortune?
About the surprises in the book. I think okay, so somebody who has gotten a lot of tattoos lately, and I've been to a few different tattoo parlor or shops, I guess, in the last 6 months. They're very close knit, like really, really close knit. Like all the tattoo artists in town here, they all hang out with each other. Like that's their friend group. And then they get married to each other, and then and they're very gossipy about other people. Like it's a very small community. So I think like it wasn't surprising, but I was like, if you wanted to branch off into that, because you did introduce like Veronica's brother and like things like that, it could have, just an idea.
I already have
Are you
someone
serious?
asking me for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie is in the first book because he is the heroine in the first book's older brother.
Mhm.
So people have been asking me for her brother's books. And I was like, well, Eddie's going to be in book 5. So that's all you're getting. Like, they always want every book. They want something else.
Oh, so one thing it didn't surprise me. I shouldn't say it surprised me because I know you, Danica, and I have read one of the other books, but a lot of the LGBTQ representation in the book. So that like there's lots of it. There are family members, some of them are bi, some of them are queer. It's like there was a lot of representation. So of course that makes us think about things that are happening in real life in the hockey world right now, and the all these pride events that have been happening, and some of the players that don't want to wear the pride jerseys, and how we're talking about hockey is for everyone, but is it really? And so how was that writing a book about an out bisexual hockey player when the real world is kind of not really like that?
Yeah, and I know we talked about this a little bit about how I knew what I was doing when I wrote that. Like it was totally intentional, and it's frustrating to see what's happening where the league's like hockey's for everyone, but not really. And it's like continuing to see it. And then I'm like, oh, all of this stuff is imploding while I'm putting out to the world. Like, here's a bisexual hockey player. He's out, he doesn't care. He's like probably gonna rock you if you try to mess with him. Like, and like the reason why he decides to be out is because he had a brother who would have like been an amazing goaltender, and he just knew he could not be himself in the league, which I think is totally valid to say, because there's guys that have quit hockey and came out, and like they could never be themselves in the league because it's just there's still toxic masculinity in it. And I would really hope like some of these younger guys are changing some of it, but it just still isn't there. And honestly, the last guy, I was like, just say you're homophobic and go. Like, just say that. Like, I'd respect you more if you'd say that instead of just saying, oh, I support all of these people, but then like you don't want to wear the jersey.
I don't support them.
Like that's all like it bugs me. But yeah, putting that representation out is important for me. I've written several different bisexual characters, and I've written different variations of what the bisexual experience is, because it is different for a lot of people. So it was really important for me to put a different perspective on it with Blaze's experience, because I want to validate people on that spectrum. So yeah, I knew what I was doing, and it was totally intentional, and wanting to have a world like that where there's not going to be an issue.
So it's like an ideal world for you?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I did
like-
wonder, because I wondered about it. He didn't get anything, and I thought, is that because he's dating Veronica? So people are sort of pretending that he's not
Maybe,
really?
yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah.
But yeah, like I've put it in some of my other books, because the heroine in the third book is bisexual, and the hero starts using the pride tape all the time because of it. So like I think the guys on my team are very inclusive, and I just want to, it is a little bit of a fantasy, but I want to put that out into the world. I actually did dedicate this book to like two people, and one of them is a guy who is an out bisexual hockey player in like one of the Europe leagues. He plays for the Manchester Storm, and he's like, it seems like these kind of semi-pro leagues, like these other leagues, are like way more inclusive than the NHL. Like they're doing pride events, there's not issues. Like, so I'm like, can we look to them to see what they're doing, because they seem to be doing it right. Like a team in England, like you wouldn't think hockey in England. So I think that's kind of maybe why, I don't know. But yeah, I did dedicate it to him, because I was like, this is an actual hockey player who's out and bisexual, and like is who he is. Like, that's amazing. I wish we could see that in the NHL. Other than Luke, who's not, I don't think he's with the pro team yet. I think he's still in the AHL.
It's pretty
But like,
young.
I would love to see him play in the NHL soon.
Thank you for writing bisexual characters like in these books, because they do the rep is important, like to young, like especially younger people to see, right? So maybe it's not now, but maybe in 5 years or 10 years, or right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's important.
Yeah. So what is coming next? I think at the end of the book, I figured it out. But when I read about Logan, and I was just like, my heart melted, and I'm like, oh, this guy has to have a book. Is that without coming in?
I was pretty obvious with who it was. Logan and Lily are next. So they're both single parents.
Yeah.
So they both have a lot of like responsibilities that they have, that they're kind of duty bound. So yeah, I'm actually working on it now. I'm planning for September release, so you'll get it at the end of this year. But yeah, that was hard because I don't have kids, so writing kids is really hard.
Hey, I have kids, but it was so long ago, I don't remember what it's like. So I always, when I'm writing kids, I always have like questions.
It's funny
It's
though.
different
'cause-
writing two single parents.
Yeah,
Usually it's just like one, like single
I know.
dad.
I just like to be difficult. Like,
I know.
let me
I
do
always think,
the hardest thing possible.
I know, my favorite Danica quote is "Nobody told me no."
Anything else you want to share with us about the book, Danica?
I don't know. I think that's
Your
like the-
favorite parts about it or favorite characters or
I love writing brothers. I love writing families. I'm kind of polling my readers right now about what I should write next because there's something I want to write, but I think that they want me to write something else.
Oh.
So, I might write some books for his family.
And I was going to say this earlier and I didn't. One of my favorite scenes in the book was right at the end where they're at Blaze's new house and the whole family is there and that, like it's just I love that whole vibe of the family and all the banter and that was fun.
Yeah, and I wrote a YA book for Maya in 2010. So I've been writing this family for a really long time. So I know them pretty well. So they've been with me for a long time. And I kind of knew, like I always kind of had this idea that maybe I would write like books for the brothers. And then I wrote Blaze into the Bulldogs because it just felt like it was a natural fit. So yeah, I've been writing them for a really long time. So I have a lot of love for this story and this family. So
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed the book.
Yeah, thank you for letting us read it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
nervous.
That was fun.
It
And
was.
it was super fun talking about it too. So I'm glad that we did this. We need to do
Yeah,
this
we
again.
should definitely do it more. I know
Yeah.
Stacy has one coming up soon, like
Yeah.
in June. So
Yeah. Yep.
We'll do that.
Were you nervous?
not to put
Danica?
you on the spot, Stacy.
You're it, Stacy.
Yeah, and she just got ARCs too.
Oh.
She
So so you're up for that, right? Stacy?
I am absolutely up for that. It's my first. It's funny because like I've always joked about what I write is that there's always hockey involved, but this book is the first in a series that I actually like sort of tow around hockey. So like the hero of this first book in the series is a recently retired hockey player. So
Good. I'm waiting for it. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to our sort of regular features and talk about the wildest things in hockey in the last month or so since we last chatted. Who wants to go first? Melanie, do you want to go first?
Okay, this thing is just a sort of a goofy thing that's happening in this market. We have Rick Tocchet as our coach now. And if you've ever seen Arrested Development, Tobias, the brother-in-law,
Yeah.
was always saying the most disgusting things by accident, like sort of like very sexual. And so Rick Tocchet has been doing this, like just talking about hockey. So it all started when he was talking about challenging Elias Pettersson. And I guess he had sort of said, well, you can't do that or something. And so Pettersson showed him his skill level and did this thing. So Tocchet said, he stuck it up my butt and I liked it. So then everybody's like, that's not
Okay.
going to happen again. So then when we played the Leafs about a couple of weeks ago, he said, I loved our second and third periods. Luke Shen banged a couple of our guys and we came right back. Luke Shen did what? And then last week's Ducks game, he said, the Ducks were coming all over us in the second period. I was like, oh my God.
my first thought was like being on. Sorry, go ahead.
We can't wait for his next coach's post game.
Is he doing this on purpose or is it just?
He's not. He's just like, he sort of mixes like his straight talk with hockey talk, and these things just come out of him. Like,
I don't think it's intentional. I actually interviewed him before, and yeah, he
oh,
like
really?
yeah.
Really?
So when I worked at the sports desk, I also did I was working for a couple different sites, and we interviewed him for the one site, and like, first of all, he forgot. And we had to reschedule it. And when he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. I had one too many hits to the head." That's what he said. No, I'm not surprised. I think he just doesn't think. He says things.
Okay.
Wasn't he just on the TNT intermission and they had to quickly find a replacement for him?
Yes,
he was on like
he was on one
that,
of the US
like, as if
channels.
yeah, like that sort of like weird sense of humor, like sitting next to like Paul Bissonnette and the rest of those people, and now he's like actually back in front of like being, in front of a team and being like professional, and like that's going out the window, and it's just like, my God, like where is
Yeah, probably it's a little bit.
Like he doesn't seem to be joking. Whenever I watch interviews, he seems to be like trying to seriously answer everybody's question.
Yeah, I don't think it's intentional at all.
Personally, I like those hockey porn things.
Yeah.
There's actually a hashtag on Twitter that you can follow where like people will post things that commentators accidentally say. And so like I've used some of those in books because I think it's hilarious.
There was a trending sound for a while on TikTok. It was NFL, but it was like the same thing. And I was like, yeah, we have this in hockey too. Like,
yeah, that's hilarious. How about you, Fortune? What's your wildest thing this week?
It's not like overly wild, but I guess they're gone into the second round for Ottawa's purchasing, and it might not be Ryan Reynolds' group that's going to win out. It looks like there is another buying group with the owner of the Hockey News, and they've made it into the second round as well, like the Hockey News paper thingy. But also very secretive, because I remember when like Jim Balsillie was trying to buy a hockey team and like he was not allowed. So I would really like, I wonder what that's like behind the scenes. Is like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I guess the headline said, it could be done in a couple weeks. So
I was really hoping for Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, me too. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Well, I don't know. He says they're close, Gary Bettman, but I don't believe anything he says ever. So
Having Ryan Reynolds as a team owner, and obviously he would be very like visible as a team owner, would do a lot for hockey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
As well as for fans.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
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 For fans. Oh my God. I can't imagine. Like he got like enough for almost his own like line. Like for like in his family.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They got 4 kids now. That's 6. Yeah. They could field a team.
I think he said one of his brothers is like a Mountie too. Like he has a couple brothers too. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading like an article about him.
Oh, really? Well, they must be here. I should.
Yeah. I don't know if he still is. This was like years ago.
Stacey, what's your wildest thing? So, in the spirit of things that the NFL has done, that the NHL is now done, a couple of years ago, the NFL did a game with Nickelodeon, and SpongeBob, and it's a thing that they continue to do semi-regularly with a special broadcast. This year, the NHL paired with a Disney Channel cartoon called Big City Greens and did a live broadcast simultaneously with the actual live broadcast of a recent game. Rangers versus Capitals were the teams that were involved. They used real-time, live-time statistics and tracking information to sort of animate the players as well as characters from the show. I was not familiar with the show at all before this happened, but I asked Helena Greer, who wrote Season of Love, and Sasha Devlin to explain to me about who these characters were. And from their explanation, it's a really interesting show. The character in particular of Grandma, who was playing goalie for the New York Rangers in place of Igor Shesterkin, is exactly the sort of daring daredevil that we have in net right now. And one of the things I loved the most about it was how much Kevin Weeks dove deeply into this and how seriously he took it. And it was wonderful. They did all of the, they did all of the like how to play goaltender, and he sort of in the animated basically costume. It was wonderful. They showed some of the stop motion technology. If you take a look, you can find the highlights or even the game itself. They had breaks explaining the various things that reminded me of Sports Illustrated for Kids, various primers that I had given my young nephew over the years. I thought it was absolutely adorable, and I do not think the good side of Rangers social media had been this excited since the Hallmark movie with the defenseman that they talk about semi-regularly. I think this was adorable. I think this was a great idea. And I even think more that it's a great idea when it gets people who are watching Big City Greens or younger kids involved in the sport, because I think it's a wonderful thing for people to watch their favorite characters or their favorite characters from their favorite shows playing sports that they love. So I am all for it.
I have to admit, I knew nothing about this.
Me neither.
It was interesting because I didn't know what was going on until the day of, because social media was talking about it. And then I was like, okay. So I was watching the game, in live action form, and then watching some of the highlights on social media of the animated game. That took a great deal of the heart of Big City Greens into the NHL. So it was really, really cool. Even better that the Rangers won, but that's another story entirely.
I think it really is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, really, when you posted more links about it and I kind of looked at it more, I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fortune, I think it was you that actually shared that with us, wasn't it, originally?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so I'm in a group chat with my brother and my husband, and there's always good stuff on there, but this one came up and I was like, ooh, I think, because I was looking for Stacy and I was like, oh, Stacy, look at this. Obviously she's already watching it, but it was fun. Like, I love fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great.
They should have that instead of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like animated All-Stars.
Or to even have like an actual extra day, like instead of like they do a lot of mascot stuff, something like this, either in conjunction or like instead of the mascot stuff, would be so much fun to like, tie with some kind of property, or just something like this, or just like,
Yeah, I really like that. It's awesome.
It's really cool.
People weren't taking it out, Fortune.
Yeah. Danica, what's your wildest thing?
Oh, so I just happened upon this. I was not looking for this, but Rod Brind'Amour also is an assistant coach for a Pee Wee team, while he's
I
not
love that.
the head coach of an NHL team. I was like, what? Like, and I had to look into it. His son plays on the team. Justin Williams is also an assistant on the coach on the team, and his daughter is on the team, and Brent Burns' son is on the team. So it seems like it's like a family thing.
Oh yeah.
I there was an article in The Athletic about it, and then there was another article I found that basically like, while he's on the road, he's sending messages to the head coach like, hey, look at this. And like the article is saying, like, imagine like you're a head coach of a Pee-wee like hockey, and you're getting like weird notes like this from your assistant coach, but that assistant coach happens to be like the head coach of an NHL team.
Right?
So, and I was chatting with my critique partner about it, and I was like, how does he have time to do this? And she was just like, because he's Rod the Bod. Like, and I'm like, okay, fair. But it was just like,
All right.
so random, like just a random thing. I would never like think a coach would also be coaching another, like doing stuff like that on the side. Like,
That's a lucky Pee-wee team.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
So those high level people involved coaching them, they'll be like stars.
It's crazy.
That's cute though.
Yeah, I like stories like that.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see, like in the community type of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah. And book idea, maybe.
I mean, I do need to do some research about coaching Pee-wee for a book. So
My wildest thing is Jordan Bennington. Oh my God. I changed my what I was going to talk about after what happened because it was just like so freaking bizarre. So I saw the thing where he gets scored on. St. Louis Blues are, for anybody who doesn't know about it, the St. Louis Blues are playing against the Minnesota Wild, and Ryan Hartman scores a goal, but kind of, I didn't even see it when it first happened. I had to watch replays over and over again. But as he's after he scores the goal and he's skating kind of past the crease, he kind of clips Binnington. But I almost think it was more like Binnington was kind of sliding out towards him. Anyway, whatever. Binnington was so pissed off about that he got up and went after Ryan Hartman and tried to fight him. I thought it was just because he scored a goal. That's what I thought at first. I was like, whoa, that's that's poor sportsmanship. You don't see goalies going after the guys that score the goals very often. But he was mad about getting clipped. But of course, we all know Jordan Binnington has a little bit of a edgy side, let's say. So he starts trying to fight with Ryan Hartman, and then Marc-Andre Fleury comes from the net at the other end and skates up, and he's trying to fight Binnington, a goalie fight. Another thing you don't see very often, which is always kind of fun, but the refs wouldn't let it happen. Okay, everybody's disappointed because people really wanted to see Marc-Andre Fleury fight Jordan Binnington. Don't we all want to see that?
Well, we want to see him beat Jordan.
Yes. Then it turns out Fleury was mic'd up, and you can hear what he's saying, and it's just hilarious. He's like, I couldn't make out all of it. I listened to it a few times, but it was funny. He was like, I think he's going to the ref. He goes, come on, it'll be good. He always wants to fight somebody. It'll be good. Come on, let me
so
go.
funny.
And then he's like, I don't like having my hair like this. And he's
like, we say goalies are weird, and I just always think of Flower, and yes.
Well, then they interview Fleury after this. I don't know when they interviewed him, if it was right after the game or was after, because Jordan Binnington actually gets suspended.
Yeah.
But so they asked Fleury about it, and he's going, well, one of the guys said that he hit them in the nuts, in the nutsack, he goes. And then he's like, I can say that, right? That's proper, right? He goes, when I saw him throw another one at our guy, that was the time. He's like, that was my guy to take care of. He's going to get in this fight. So it was disappointing, I think, for lots of people because so many people on social media wanted to see Marc-Andre Fleury fight Jordan Binnington, or as you say, beat Jordan Binnington. Anyway, the other thing that was so bizarre about that was after Binnington's getting kicked out of the game, and he skates off and he's trying to rile up the crowd, he just got scored again. So I don't know what that was. That was bizarre. Anyway, that was my wildest thing. It was kind of hilarious and crazy.
Well, maybe his girlfriend just broke up with him and he was having a bad day.
Who knows what he's going through, right? Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's move on to our style report for this week.
Okay.
There we go. Best dressed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll start since my dude's up in the top left there. That is Nino Niederreiter, who is one of the newest Jets. We just got him around the trade deadline. From where did he come from? Nashville? Oh, I can't even remember. And I mean, in terms of a style report, he looks fine. It's not anything spectacular, but I just wanted to show him off because he's one of our newest players, and he's doing really well. And a few weeks ago, I was in Vegas and I went to a game. The Knights played the Carolina Hurricanes. And as we were leaving, going down the escalator, I had a Jets shirt on, and somebody in front of me on the escalator this lady looks at me, and she and her husband were there, and they're like, Jets, that's who's got Nino Niederreiter. And I was like, yes, we do. And she goes, they were like, he is such a nice guy. He's such a great player. He's just going to be so good for your team. And I was like, I hope so. Anyway, there's Nino. Who's next? Let's go bottom left.
Okay, that's me. That's Andrei Kuzmenko, who's, I mean, it's fashion-wise, it's not anything special. But the thing
Wearing a turtleneck?
yeah, I think he's got a turtleneck and a jacket on. He just got his hair cut. His hair was super, super long, but he is really famous in Vancouver right now because during Hockey Night in Canada, he was seen drinking like a Coke or Pepsi and eating a banana on the bench during the game. And so I guess he just wanted that extra energy, but he became so famous for it. And so a kid came to a game and said, hey, I'll trade you a banana for a stick. And he traded him. And so now people are
so
bringing
cute.
like bananas all the time. And he's just a really fun, happy, and high energy guy. His English is like improving a lot, but he's like not shy to speak at all. And they had an autograph signing for him locally. And apparently there was just a huge lineup. He's just a fan favorite already. And he's been scoring some pretty key goals at the end of games. So
Where's he from?
he's from Russia. He was
Okay.
like he's not eligible to be a rookie, even though it's his first year in the NHL, because I think he's like 27 or something. So he played in the KHL. He's a free agent. He could have signed with any team in the NHL, actually. So, but his agent, I think, had a relationship with Patrick Alvin, our GM. So we got him, and he's been, I mean, I think he's got 33 goals already this season. So he's having an awesome season.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So much for Team Tank, but
No, but that's good too, because like people are probably still coming to games and stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice. It's just, you know, some players on the ice, when they're celebrating, they're so happy, and it makes you feel good too.
Mhm.
So before I get to Artemi Panarin in black, I just want to say, Mel, please take care of Vitaly Kravtsov. He was never given a fair shot in New York, but I hear he has been traded to Vancouver. Please, please, please take care of him, and hopefully he gets like a good chance and is able to actually do something really great for Vancouver.
But is he a hard worker, Stacey? Because that was sort of the rumor when he came here.
So the problem is that Gallant never really gave him a chance to. Like, once he would like produce on ice, he would get moved or sat. And because what had happened before was that there had been an understanding with, there was a whole long story with his agent and Drury, and like a whole big thing. And Drury actually, like, he went back to the KHL for a while because it was basically like said to him that he's going to play in New York and not in Hartford.
Yeah.
But they sent him to Hartford, and there was a whole thing. And yeah, anyway, take
Well,
care.
because that was the rumor that he wouldn't go to the AHL.
Because he wasn't given a fair shot. Like there was a whole thing. Like, he was producing really well, and then they sent him down, and then other players who are thankfully no longer on the team were given a shot before he was. So it was a wild sort of situation where, like, you could see he deserved a spot, but was never actually given one. So
Mhm.
hopefully he is in a better place where he can flourish and do well.
Well, I think he's on the third line now, and he's become really good friends with a skilled rookie Russian that we have, who's a super hard worker. So I
Mhm.
guess if they start working out together, it could work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The man in black is Artemi Panarin, who is producing fantastically well.
Okay.
He is part of the New York Rangers team who are in the process of a back-to-back, hopefully win. Like when I turned off the game, it was like 6-0 in like the first period. So hopefully this continues. Panarin has scored a couple goals in the last 2 nights. So it's been really nice to watch. And kudos to Artemi Panarin. So, here we go.
I've got Michael Backlund here in the bottom right, I think. Left, I don't know. Anyway, but he always seems to be like slightly edged out by some of the other guys on the team. But he won out this week or this month because he had his hair done. All the other team, they like wear beanies or their hair is too long, and like I know your hair is gonna get wrecked in your helmet, but like I appreciate this what's it called, that the effort. And the thing is, I also like him because he was drafted by Sutter originally, and I'm glad that he's really like part of the team and like he's Sutter's guy, and like I'm really happy for him right now.
Awesome. And last,
So this is Cam York. He's like one of the Flyers like younger players. Like I don't remember when he got drafted. I feel old now. But his hair doesn't look that red here, but it's like I think we have like 3 redheads. Like we have a quota to have redheads on our team. So yeah, I just picked him. Like the Flyers just haven't had like really great photos lately. So I grabbed this from a reel that they posted. I think this might have been like maybe a month ago or something. Like it's a little bit old. But yeah, it's nothing special, but yeah, he's been doing well. I mean, team's not doing great, but we did just lose our GM. So Danny Briere is actually our interim GM right now.
Are you
Right.
happy?
I am scared for him because I really like him. He's been like the special assistant to the GM, like that's been his position. Like he was a scout and then he got this like weird position, and like everyone's been like he's basically being groomed to be the GM. But we had Ron Hexel before and we were very excited for that, and then it was not a good time. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think a lot of things need to change in the organization, and I don't think they're really gonna change. And I just feel like fans are probably gonna turn on him real quick. Like I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, nothing's gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
And our GM got the can because he'd made no moves during the trade deadline, really. Like there wasn't anything spectacular that happened. Like JVR would have been a good like contract dump. Even though I do like JVR. But he's a lot on our cap, so they could have moved him and he wasn't moved out. There wasn't even didn't seem like there was even talks about moving. So a lot of people will just weren't happy with the Flyers, just didn't do anything really. Except for that one move that I don't really want to talk about. There's like a couple players on my team that I would rather not be on my team. So
And you have to feel sorry for Briere because he gets his dream job and then his son is suddenly in the news for all.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm like, oh
awful.
my
Right?
God. Like it has nothing to do with the Flyers, but it kind of does because like his dad's the GM, so it's like
Yeah.
you kind of got to say something, and your statement didn't really say anything. So yeah, it's not ever good news. It feels like.
Okay, well, that just about does it for tonight. We're kind of running out of time. Do we have
Yeah.
any upcoming releases to talk about? We mentioned Stacy's that's coming up. When is that? June?
June 1st.
Okay. Anybody else have something coming?
I had a release through the HEA Collective Patreon called Yours, Mine, and Ours. So that's out now. The information's on my website or on the Patreon. And that's a poly book with a secret, well, surprise pregnancy. So we've got bi-rep, gay solo poly, and an asexual pregnant woman. So it's fun. I love it. It's one of my favorite stories I've ever written.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mel? No,
No.
I got nothing either.
Buy our old books.
Yeah, I got lots of old stuff you can buy. God. I will write again. I've been working on some things lately, so it will happen, but right now I have nothing upcoming. Next Chippy checks. End of April, 16th or 23rd. What do we think?
I'm good for either.
Yeah, I think either works for me.
And I think is it Mel's turn? Oh, I'm dead. Oh, no, I'm not.
No, I was last week. I was the
Were you last time? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe it's me.
Is it my turn? I
Your
don't know.
turn? I don't know.
I think it might be
we'll
your
figure.
turn. Danica.
Stacy or Fortune stuff, but we'll work
I'll figure it out. Okay,
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
we'll say April 23rd,
Okay.
Mhm.
second last Sunday of the month. Okay, so thanks for joining us, everybody. We love talking about hockey and books, lots of book talk tonight. So that was great. And we'll see you again next month. I'm gonna play us out, hopefully.
My phone held on.
Yay.
It was like,
Yay.
Keeps like skipping.
All right, I'm gonna try one more time. Sorry. Oh, it did work. It did work.
It started.
Oh, no. Okay, never mind. We're done. Sorry, good night.